Roger receives an email from a valued small business client who is considering selling his business and he wants a valuation. Roger collects all of the relevant information and goes to Calculations, Business Valuations, to assess the value of the business using the discounted cash flow method. He receives a call from a client who has applied for an overdraft. The bank has asked him to provide a cash flow forecast. Roger opens Calculations, Budgets and Projections, Cash Flow Forecast, and prepares the forecast from the most recent set of accounts and his client's advice. He receives a call from a client who is leasing a new motor vehicle. He has been told that there are minimum residual values for the lease to be accepted by the ATO. Roger goes to Rates Leasing to get those figures to pass on to the client. Next, he meets with a long-term client who wants help in improving the profitability of her business. He uses Calculations, Budgets and Projections, Profit Manager to project and test different scenarios which will increase net profit. He receives a call from a client who has problems managing his company's cash flow. Roger sets up a worksheet from the template Calculations, Tax and Super Debt Company, which will allow his client to set amounts aside on a weekly basis to cover future amounts payable for company tax, GST, PAYG withholding, FBT and superannuation guarantee payments. Next, he meets with the client for some tax planning. He shows him a graphical illustration of the different tax rates applying to various entities, which he gets from Rates Income Tax Thermometer. He then prepares a return for his sister, who has used her line of credit to run her business and pay for personal expenses. Roger uses Calculations, Interest, Mixed Loans to calculate interest on up to 4 different business uses of that loan. He then receives a call from a client with a number of highly paid workers. The client wants to know about the maximum contribution base for superannuation guarantee purposes. Roger goes to Rates, Superannuation Guarantee, Maximum Contribution Base to look up the maximum quarterly earnings base for the current year. One of his clients has recently updated her cloud accounts to the 31st of March and wants a projected profit and tax figure for the year. He goes to Calculations Tax Planning Company to prepare the estimate and do some tax planning. Next, he reviews a set of accounts for a butcher prepared by Jane, his senior accountant, and he noticed that goods taken for private use had not been accounted for in the profit and loss statement. Roger goes to Rates, Stock, Private Use to determine how much should be shown in the accounts for that year. Next, he meets with a client who wants advice on purchasing a specific rental property. Roger enters data to the Calculations, Budgets and Projections Property Investment Analysis spreadsheet to determine pre- and post-tax flow, gross and net rental yield, investment equity after 10 years, and internal rates of return after 10 years if the property is either sold or still held.